maybe Canada? Their air force is tiny. Who am I missing? India. It's not India. Hey, Commander Scooby, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome to the stream. How are you guys doing? Raid from Scooby, hello. And apologies, I'm on a time delay. So 1 minute, I'm on a delay. So in a minute's time, you'll hear me going, hooray! But until then... I decided to type it into chat just so that I can confirm that. I always feel bad if I don't acknowledge raiders, because you definitely should acknowledge raiders, because they're awesome. Co-Pro, Co-Prosperity Sphere. So the American tanks are still... No, French... The French are retaking the territories here in northern Germany which they had previously lost to the tank advance. However, the Russian tanks are still very much in the area and they wish to know your location. Meanwhile, down in Bulgaria, it looks like there's a couple of advances being intended and planned and executed, but nothing really devastating. CNTF AI still defending the port in Britain. Not seeing any like huge masses of troops moving anywhere where I'd expect a big breakthrough. I'm expecting Russia to launch a massive offensive on Berlin. But I'm just not seeing them put the plans and stuff in place. Like, Russia has now got 10 heavy tank divisions. Just set up a small line around Berlin, draw a line to offensive line to Magdeburg, and then just manually micro around Berlin. There's only 2 provinces and it's cut off. Now, Berlin itself is fairly well guarded. No forts here. No forts here, and I think this is a mistake, the fact that France isn't fortifying itself. Like, Berlin is such a critical position. If they hold Berlin, they win. If Co-Pro takes it, they win. It's that close. Also, is there not anything UOB could be doing more with their manpower? Oh, they could. I think it's a mistake that Union of Britain's the air controller. One of the things about Kaiserreich Union of Britain is they tend to have loads of manpower, particularly beyond what the UK ordinarily has. They can actually be a pretty good like infantry line. So you get France to do the major offensive; they're the aggressive ones, and then Britain basically holds the line of whatever France takes. So I think they are missing a bit of a beat on that because Britain's definitely not living up to its potential. I mean, the very least what they should be doing is sending garrison to France. I don't know if they're even doing that. Let's have a look. Because now France is actually doing some occupations. I don't even know how I would check that. Nope. France is actually giving manpower to CNTF AI. Britain is not. And the other thing that Britain should be doing is naval control. And I've been really underwhelmed by Britain's naval. Because there isn't one. Oh, the Russians are attacking into Rostock once more. If they can take this province, then that's going to be a cut-off. Do we have any ships in the Baltic? Probably not. Russia isn't. Siam isn't. So no ships in the Baltic right now resisting any of that. Delay's more like 2 minutes? Oh, okay. It's set to be 60 seconds. Vienna would do instead, and I think the Russians have closed up the Danube, so there's a front line there too. Yeah, but most of the Russian tanks are in the north. And where's Vienna gone? Ooh, no, Vienna is on the... Well, they'd have to cross the Danube here. Berlin's just so much more exposed. All of the infrastructure here is being eradicated. and there's no forts whatsoever. I just feel like Berlin would be easier to take, like, especially because Russia has heavy tanks with no engineers. They're going to be very bad at crossing rivers, especially if it's a major river. Like, that's some, like, minus 70% penalty for an attack across that. Whereas Berlin is on the wrong side of the river. This is a major liability for the Third Internationale. And right now, air superiority is on the side of the Third Internationale, but that does suggest that the Co-Prosperity air power has been shifted somewhere. Where are your planes? You're trying to bomb the living daylights out of the Mediterranean. Bulgaria. You're planning a massive attack in Bulgaria. In fact, you've already executed one. Trying to take over Sofia. It's the Siamese mediums. And what they're probably trying to do is draw French attention down towards Sofia while they do something up north. And they just got to cut... Oh no! 4 tank cutoff! They just died. 4 medium tank divisions. Oh man, that's a blow. Well played to the Third Internationale. Nope, Russian tanks are still up here. I was expecting them to have been removed, but they weren't. If Russia has a general with the improvised bridges ability, they could either hit either side of Vienna and push the bridges button. Let's take a look. It's a trickster, it's that one. The important one would be this guy. Markov doesn't have it. In fact, Markov's not the greatest tank commander. He has loads of points in planning and he ain't using his plans. Wrangel. But he's a field marshal. I don't think field marshals can do it. Nope, no improv experts. Improv expert requires trickster and a terrain trait. And it doesn't look like the Russians have any of that. It's actually a remarkably difficult trait to get. With the exception of like frontline infantry commanders who've been in place throughout. They have a winter specialist. Does winter specialist count? Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, it counts as a terrain trait, I think. So they just need trickster. And he's a quarter of the way there. Not enough time. And now Kopro is worried about a counterattack. Because they lost all of their tanks there in the south. And Russia has a couple of reserves. Here we go. Big attack on Berlin. Going on right now. Berlin itself managed to resist. We actually have the French currently trying to push out. Russia coming in behind, but again, these units just too strong, too entrenched. You know what would make them even more entrenched? Fortifications. However, France... Oh, they're about to get cut off. Oh no, we're seeing this from the French perspective, in mind. You guys seem to be doing a lot more piercing damage now. You have AT, but you need it to be line AT. You need to just get, like, ultra-modern line artillery. Like, go ahead of time if you need to. And then the other thing that would do it would be air power, which right now is entirely in favour of Third International. And if they can keep the air superiority and close air support, then those tanks are going to have a pretty difficult time pushing. I felt a disturbance in the force, as if 4 medium tank divisions screamed, and there was silence. Yeah, the only, like, consolidated role is the air controller. You will sometimes get a navy controller. They basically just focus building dockyards, but you can't give them navies. So, for example, the UK is a natural navy controller, so is Japan. And also geographically, like Australasia can be a good Navy controller because that's their outpost in the Pacific. And then also you go by player strengths. Hence I was Navy controller for the UK and the developer multiplayer. The 3-day war. Hey Duke. And actually, if you want like a really good example of controllers, then that 3-day war is a pretty good example. Let me see if I can just dig that up for you. It was not called 3-day war, it was called Chain of Command. So if you go and check out that video, which you will hear in 2 minutes what that video is actually about. But if you check out that video, that is me playing as the naval controller for the United Kingdom in a 4-way multiplayer against the Paradox developers. It was myself, Toriel, Feedback Gaming, and the Prussian Prince, each of us kind of a specialist in different areas, playing against 4 developers in Imperial Germany. It was a really, really good game, and it has some of the best invasions I think I've ever seen executed. So definitely go check out that series if you have not done so already. It was really, really good. And you can find everyone's perspective. Like Toriel's is on his channel, Feedback's on his, Prussian Prince is on his, and then you also have on the Paradox Grand Strategy YouTube channel the Observer view. So like what I'm doing right here, Paradox is doing for that game. Okay, so France is preparing another attack against the Russians, worried about the cave-in over here. I always forget what these are called. Battle of the Bulge style.
Hey, Mordred.
Hello.
Frodo.
Frodo, gotcha. Thank you. Alright, so continued attacks going on here against the heavy tanks. And I wonder if France is going to be able to push them back or not. It looks like they'll be able to. What France really needs to do is secure these 2 provinces. I feel like it's going to be too difficult to take this one because they don't want to attack out of Berlin directly in case they whittle down the organization of their forces here. Also, the Helvetic Commune. I wonder how strong those infantry are and whether they have piercing attacks. They don't. They don't even have line on. They don't even have AT. That's an interesting choice to leave in control of that. What about these guys? What are they? Oh, these are... Oh! France has been expeditionarying out their tanks. So France actually has a lot more of those than we thought. Oh, that's interesting. And also super sneaky. So this is something which I very rarely see in multiplayer. And I'm always disappointed by it. Like, one of the best games, again, playing as the UK. I like playing UK multiplayer. They're interesting. Is as the UK, and this is really what the Union of Britain should have been doing, is expeditionarying out. So you build armies, and then you give them to another player, and then they can take control of them. So, for example, playing as the United Kingdom in that, I was building armies, sending them off to Malaya to fight against the Japanese, giving them to my Malaya and Australia player. I was building units, giving them then to the Canadian and the USA player to deal with Africa. And that way I could keep my focus on the naval aspect and the air aspect, while my allies were using my actual armies and my big industry to micro in their geographic areas. So the fact that they've given this to Switzerland, so Switzerland is actually doing a lot of the micro for France apparently, makes sense. This is a good idea. The one thing which they're losing out on is officer skill. So the officers, when you expeditionary, are entirely dependent on the country you're expeditionarying to. But if they have good generals, like the USA, it's a good idea. And Canada, another one that's good to expeditionary to. So that is something that the UK could really be doing. And in fact, Australasia, having bought that 5 divisions, they might have been expeditionarying out to their other teammates. That's possible. Helvetic Commune pinging wildly that Rostock should be attacked. We are seeing French assaults. They are going across a river, which is a bit dangerous. I think I would have stationed some tanks in Berlin to be attacking out that way as well. Russians are responding quickly to try and retake those territories. There we go. Tanks have taken it. Tank battle. No, that's an infantry battle. Where are the Russian tanks going? The Russian tanks are moving south. Are they going to Vienna? Oh no, there's a cutoff. The Russian tanks are probably going to try and stop this attack. Now these are tanks actually controlled by France. So France has got this unit of 8 medium tank divisions, which are actually brand new. Look how green they are. They haven't spent any time trying to train them. While the Helvetic Commune is taking control of the tanks here in the north. That's a good division of labour. Cutoff! That's a hell of a cutoff! And they have just encircled all of the units around Rostock. That's pretty amazing. They just need to hold on in Stettin and on this guy. There is a red attack against them, so they need to reinforce that. They do have some more attacks coming in. Then the infantry are probably going to move in and clean up. There is a port in Rostock, so if they have submarines, Union of Britain in particular, they could set the submarines into the Baltic to then stop any of these Russian units escaping from Rostock. And there are 3, 5, 7 heavy tank divisions around Rostock. This could be a game changer. If they manage to close this pocket, Russia loses 7 heavy tanks. 7. Russia has got 8. At least in that army. I wonder if they've got any other armies with heavy tanks now. Not by the looks of things. So actually all of these guys are in different armies. There's one with 2. So no. Whose side's the USA on? They're on the Entente. And it's gonna happen. They've taken Rostock, which means they've lost their opportunity to escape. Overruns are coming in. A bunch of Russians are pulling back. And yeah, this army is being dismantled. Oh, I feel bad for Russia, because these units are incredibly expensive. Like, this is the downside of using heavy tanks. They are incredibly strong. They are also incredibly expensive. So this is probably representing about 3 years of production. And the Internationale could capture the material too. Yes, they could if they have maintenance companies. Which I'm not sure they do. Let me click on... There we go. It needs to be France. So if we go to France, click on infantry... It's unusual that you would add maintenance companies to infantry units. No, they don't. 5 heavy tanks. Completely encircled. So I think there have been 2 game-defining pockets of this game. PSA, definitely one of them. And then this one. And 13 infantry divisions. Hadn't even realised that. Oof. This is a very significant number of troops. Berlin looking more and more secure because they've just taken another of the surrounders. And in fact, if they take this and then fortify, 1, it's forest. Good luck, tanks. 2, if you build forts there, good luck, tanks. Especially because all the heavy tanks are dead. And the heavy tanks are the only real tool that you have to take down high-level forts. You would need to spend some time building them, of course, but the first 3 levels really take no time at all. Going beyond level 3 will be an increasing investment, but if you have the amount of civilian factories, which France does, 182 of them, you can build quite a few forts at the same time. So I just want to take a look at this battle just to see if they're even able to penetrate the armor at this stage. Yep. French divisions can penetrate their heavy tanks armor. Why is that? Piercing 51. It's probably because they've just lost a lot of heavy tanks. They've probably upgraded the AT to tier 3, I would assume. Oh, no. Now they're resisting. The only reason they're still alive is because there are so many heavy tanks. And even when they counterattack, they're still like, I am heavy tank. You die now. And yeah, France is saying, please pin these guys. Because if they're being attacked, they suffer a penalty from being involved in 2 combats. So if we take a look at the Russian tanks, air superiority is counting against them. Night time. Why is the counterattack not counting? Maybe because they had already started? Don't know. Plus the French are also bringing in the close air support, and you can see the damage that these guys are doing. Boom! There it is! There it is. Those Russian tanks are now dead. That wasn't the group of tanks they just... Did they get them out? No. They definitely lost 4. Oh! They actually have a lot more than I realised. Yeah, they did have a couple of heavy tank divisions just randomly mixed in with these units. But apparently those have been removed and have been added to Markov. And there's a large army of heavies here in Berlin again. Big fan of Stalin's portrait. Yeah, they've done a good job with that. Level 5. Gaining Organizer, gaining Hellfighter, Ranger. It's not particularly close to getting any of those. I wonder how the Coming in France gets him as a general. That's interesting. Berlin named to Stalinburg when? It wouldn't be Berg, it would be Borg. Like Strasbourg. In fact, Berg sounds awfully Germanic. I wonder... Be like Chateau Berlin. Okay, here comes the next heavy tank attack. Coming in against these guys. It is again Forest, where tanks struggle. So the fact that they've just taken these 2 pincer move positions is going to be a good thing. And actually, I think it would be massively in France's favour if they would attack this from 4 angles and take it. Because then Berlin's completely secure and you've got an entire front line of forest. That's going to be really painful for armour to punch through. I don't think it's Siam tanks. I think they're tanks that have been expeditionaried to Siam. No. They're just Russian tanks. Yep, community poll soonish. Soon. I want to see what happens to Berlin. Cut off. Russians dead. How's Vienna doing? Vienna is... fine. There it is. Hidden beneath all the unit flags. Huzzah! Maharo coming in with some more generosity there. Thank you very much for that. Sordin Adulin, Win, Skoo, and Cloudnil. Huzzah. Congratulations on the gifted subs. And Notorious! Congratulations on the gifted subs, courtesy of Maharo. Thank you very much for that. Used to have a Stalingrad here for a brief time in Poland. Oh, really? Interesting. Huzzah! And Somp TV, thank you very much for the follow. Justasau. It's actually a really hard name to say. Huzzah! Oleolesp, Tyler Swish, Potatoes are good. Thank you very much for the follows. Kienzi, Standard Deviation. Huzzah! Thank you all very much for the follows. And Hulborg. I think I acknowledged the fact you gifted a sub. Not sure I did. Thank you very much for the gifted sub there, Hulborg. I think I did. Ah, I hate that I can't remember. Sofia still being defended, and they've actually taken the territories on either side of it. So Sofia, I would say, is pretty well entrenched at this point. Let's just take a very quick look at the scores on the doors. Still very much in the Third International's favour. They're at 16 points, Co-Prosperity is on 12. I'm astonished that Third International's doing as well as they are, keeping this. And it just doesn't look like the CoPro has any answer to this. And in fact, the heavy tanks are being moved away. Are they giving up on Berlin? We still have the American heavy tank divisions. We still have the French medium tank divisions nearby. Lots of them. In fact, no, these are different. Oh no, it's because we're not seeing this from the French perspective. Yeah, they'd be the lightning bolt. That is a lot of French armor here. Just waiting. And this guy is leaving. So that's going to leave 2 infantry in this position just outside of Berlin. That's just asking to be attacked. Just grab all of these and just be like, click. PS 10902, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Anything going on in the rest of the world? Probably not. I think the only remaining chance of the CoPro would be to pull off a naval invasion in the Pacific somewhere. Yeah, possibly. Go for America, though I think... I'm trying to think where the victory points are. Ottawa, Washington, D.C. I think that San Francisco and LA might be a victory point, but I don't think it would be enough, because that would be taking from the Entente, not from the Third Internationale. What country am I playing as? I'm not, I'm a commentator. Meanwhile, things here do seem to have settled down a little bit. Oh, another cutoff. That's another 13 Russian divisions. However, the Russian tanks are moving back in again, moving south from Prague, probably to try and link up with this group once more. Argentina declared war on Uruguay. That's fine. That's totally fine. Okay, so if we did think about... Nah, not yet. Soon. Soon. Berlin's still a victory, yeah. I think. And they are attacking out now. At least somebody is. Who's that? Oh, the Union of Britain. Union of Britain's trying to attack out and take out the Russians, which they have done! Berlin secure! So Russia is immediately going to try and counterattack here. There are a lot of troops moving in. Are they going to get there in time? Yes, they are! And there it is, Berlin secure. I don't think that CoPro can take it anymore. That opportunity has passed. And Third International is very secure in the air. And yeah, I think that opportunity's gone.